Now, let's face it, anyone and their mama, if they just put maybe 400 in the corner, another 400, they can buy a Sailfin dragon. Luckily, they've gone up in price, but anyone can get a Sailfin dragon when these large, amazing lizards need essentially a small bedroom to do anything proper for these animals. But essentially, in this video, I want to talk about animals that have Sailfin structures, but don't get, well, this big, obviously. So anyways, if that's what's, catching your interest today, then I guess continue watching this video. Oh. So, the number 5 in this video is going to be an Anole, that we call Anolis, blah 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 blah, or the crested Anole. Now, the crested Anole is a fairly somewhat common Anole. Anyone can honestly find them. The difference with this and a Sailfin dragon is obviously size, species, and plenty of other things. But one of the interesting things about these guys is that there seems to be a lot of weird genetic stuff going on with these. For recent, there was this individual that was found in Florida, which is obviously translucent. No one grabbed it. It's still in the wild, so hey, Pokemon trainers, go out there and get your Pokeballs ready. Pretty much, this Anole is really weird, really unique, and they're also known to be very genetically strong, if that makes sense. I made a whole video right there where I actually watch some herpetologists, go and study these lizards evolving into cities. Really interesting animals, and they have pretty impressive crests. Honestly, their only downside is that they're all wild caught because no one breeds them, because they only go like $25 market-wise. Pretty big difference than under $1,000 for a Sailfin. But they definitely make it up with a lot of personality because they are an Anole. Now, we're going to talk about Anole here. Anolis Farious. What is this? This is essentially, in my opinion, might rival the first one. The only reason I don't think it actually rivals them, one, sadly these guys are not in the pet trade at the moment. They do have a very, 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 very slim, most likely illegal possibility of ever ending up in the pet trade. But these will be the largest Anole on the list, being a crown giant. They're somewhere around a yay big. About yay big. The exact measurements is always going to be hard because it's Anole. No one really cares or knows much at the end of the day. So that information isn't. And when you Google it, it gives you night Anoles, which is very fun. I'm even talking like you can Google a smaller Anole species, like I don't know, Jamaican twig Anole, and then it's going to be like the night Anole. I'm like, okay. These guys are a really unique Anole. Obviously, they are pretty large in size. I believe the males actually have a Sailfin structure. Now, this structure is often beat up because combat and other numerous reasons. They are wild animals. I'm sure if we had captive specimens, there would be different things to look at and they would look a lot more better. But these are really unique Anoles. One, because they're a crown giant, which means pretty much this is a tree, guys. And right here you'll have your twig Anoles. Right here, your little twig Anoles. Your branches essentially middle of the trunk. Your more like trunk Anoles essentially. And then your crown giant. Crown giants are typically the ones who hang out on the top of the trees, eat just about anything that'll fit in their mouth, and they are typically the most boldest of the Anoles and have a couple unique characteristics that are different from most Anoles. Very interesting animals. Super unique. I would kill to have these in the hobby. What do you think about them, though? Many of y'all, this is probably your first time you've been hearing about them. Anyways, to the next one. This could be essentially an uprunner for those Fiji iguanas that the Canadians, that bald one.
So I added some frogs for the ground. I wanted some animals that were diurnal species that were going to move around. And for that I chose dart frogs. Now this is a big disclaimer. Don't keep different species or even localities of dart frogs together, because that's exactly what I'm doing. Now keep in mind.
Okay, you're just gonna see it. So it's probably on the thumbnail, but this is Anolis I can't pronounce that one yet.
Anolis Homo Licious.
Anolis Homo Licious.
Anolis Homo Licious.
Anolis Homo Licious. I don't think that's right. Give me a minute.
Anolis Homo Licious.
I mean, I'm reading the name. I mean, that actually makes sense. So, Homo Licious. That's what we're going to call them. So, Anolis Homo Licious is a really unique Anole. By unique, they are a pitch black Anole. They do fire up, as you can see on the screen, to a little bit more of a bright or color. It's more beige, to be honest with you. But that white dewlap with that black body is striking. Not to mention they have Sailfins. Now, I'm not sure on the factuality of this information because this is hard to find info. Not many people work with them because they aren't legally allowed outside of Cuba, where they're native to. But in Cuba, these guys are pretty much all over the place. I'm talking to my buddies who go to Cuba and they're right outside the resort. They're in the forest. They're all over Cuba. Like, look, here's the iNaturalist map. They are literally all over the place. And that's why it annoys me that when Cuba was allowing exports, not one person was like, let's bring these over. But no, we don't do things that make sense in the reptile hobby. These anoles are really cool. Obviously, they have that, like I mentioned earlier, amazing colors, and then that sailfin, just to really beat it in there. Really beat it in there just to tell Cameron, you can't own this, you can't have this. Really, but they're super sick, and they would be a gem to own in the hobby. Sadly, we can't do it legally. And obviously they're pretty unique enough. If it ever were an incident of them coming in illegally, I think it'd be known very quickly. Overall, what do y'all think about this species? And trust me, the next one is actually one you can own in the hobby, and the rest of them will be. You just can't talk about any anoles of self and stop talking about these guys first. But now they're out the way, we can talk about the more really interesting ones. Anolis Oculatus Winston-I. Pretty much Oculatus is a group of anoles, I think about 6 members, and they all are really unique. They all tend to follow the same trends, kind of orange-brown body, white spots that may vary in size and how many, typically it's size. But Winston, I'm working with them. I know for a fact that they have sailfins, and they have really impressive sailfin structures for something that I honestly don't see talked about often with this species. It's always their amazing spots, their really unique behavior. They're tolerable to higher temperatures, cooler temperatures, their unique behaviors, all this and that. That's why I always hear about this species, and that's what draws me in. And then I see a picture one day on Google saying they have a sailfin. I'm like, whoa. I'm gonna buy them, and in this video I bought them and did all that, and I'm working with the species still. Now, I can definitely confirm they do have sailfins. Obviously, look at them, and it's very interesting. It's very unique. Obviously, males have sailfins, females do not have sailfins. That's kind of what you may have noticed by now. It's a trend with the anoles at this point. But really unique anole, and I'd say they're a good option for someone who doesn't want to get the #1 option of anoles, but you still want one with a sailfin. Maybe you won't want something a little more interesting. And on top of that, it looks like you ripped a piece of the starry night sky out and said, hey, you're on a anole body now. Now, to end this video, we're actually talking about something I'm currently breeding. There's this video, all on them. If you want to get a super deep dive in them after hearing all this, is Anolis Farious. So why do we want to talk about Anolis Farious? They are the king of having sailfin-like structures in anoles, and they're gorgeous animals, I tell you. The only real issue with them is that, one, they can tend to be pretty shy, but Anolis Farious is a medium-sized anole, not too big, not too small. You can't sex them till about a year of age, and that's because the males will actually start developing a sailfin structure, which is actually one of the ways you sex them. And the males are double the size. Now, the interesting thing about this sailfin is that it doesn't just one night on their 1-year birthday just magically grow to, boom, massive sailfin. It grows, and it's a slow progression. It's a slow cook a little bit. You know, obviously genetics do have a play. If you have animals that have obviously bigger sailfin structures, they'll tend to make bigger sailfin animals down the line. It's simple stuff, guys. But the thing is as well, you know, once you get a good animal like that and you get something going, they are also pretty variable. You know, you have ones with spots like my males, you have a blue one, you have a green one, yellow ones, pretty variable animals, super unique little guys. I love them, and amazing creatures. These are truly, in my opinion, and I did some digging, guys. I actually looked around instead of just using this, and this to find it, because it's anoles. You don't find this stuff every day. Because, you know, I'm 99% sure these animals have the best sailfin structures out of any anoles. And I breed them. They're sick. Adorable little babies, too. Anyways, end of the video.